Call the Owatonna City Council meeting for September 5th, 2017 to order. Could I have roll call, please?
Councilmember Voss.
Here.
Elkenberg.
Here.
Dotson.
Here.
Burbank.
Here.
Rainey.
Here.
Spenby.
Here.
Schultz.
Here.
Mayor Kuntz.
Here.
We have all 7 of the council and the mayor present.
Everyone please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, welcome everyone to our first fall day in Owatonna. A little cooler out there today. First thing up is the approval of the agenda. I would look for a motion to approve the agenda as printed.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Brent. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Nate. Any further discussion? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The agenda is good. There's no public hearings tonight. Mayor Tom, you don't have anything right away for us?
I do not.
Okay. So next up is a consent agenda, and that consists of minutes and permits and licenses, boards and commission minutes, department monthly reports, other contracts, agreements, and miscellaneous items, all lumped together for the council to review in its whole and vote on it that way. So I would look for a motion on the consent agenda.
Motion to approve consent agenda.
Motion by Dave to approve the consent agenda. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Doug. Any further discussion? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now we move on to action items. And first up is the finance report, and we'll go to Vice President Rainey to read the finance report.
Thank you. Bills totaling over, or checks for over $20,000 tonight are as follows. $104,936, Henry G. Miggs, that's road oil for seal coating. $233,837 for Towmaster, that's 2 truck bodies for 2-ton trucks with plows and wings. $113,312 Southeast Service Co-op, that's the August health insurance premiums. $360,602 Crank Creek Asphalt, that is $228,000 for the curb and gutter, and $132,553 for the hot mix. $236,925 for Holtmeyer Construction, that is the payment estimate number 2 on North Cedar. $23,745 for Owatonna Area Chamber of Commerce, that's July lodging tax. $111,529 to Raw Construction, that is for the North Strait River Trail Project. $84,133 to the Hewlin Brothers, that is pay estimate number 2, Lamont Road. $430,011 to Wenzel Construction, that is $418,208 to the Street and Utility Project, and $11,802 for the Storm Sewer Project. Other expenditures tonight, $374,735 for a subtotal of $2,073,769. Added onto that is HR Section 8 payments of $78,895. Total expenditures tonight, $2,152,665.06.
Okay, thank you, Kevin. You've heard the finance report. I'd look for a motion on that.
Motion to pay the bills.
Motion by Jeff to pay the bills. A second?
Second.
Second by Brent. Any further discussion? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now we move to contracts and agreements. The first one is 3.2.1. It's a memo of understanding with the International Association of Firefighters, local union number 1920. And we'll go to Lynn on this one.
All right, good evening. I'm bringing to you the memorandum of understanding between the city and local union 1920, and this is to address the issue of acting commander pay. When the city of Owatonna instituted the new salary structure, the new language was needed clarification on how we calculate the acting commander pay with the full-time fire equipment operator.
Okay, thank you, Lynn. Any questions for Lynn on this matter?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Kevin to approve this memo of understanding. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Jeff. Any further discussion? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next up is 3.2.2. It's the engineering services agreement on the wastewater treatment plant facility plan with Nero Engineering, and we'll go to Kyle for this.
Good evening. This is a plan or an engineering facility plan for the wastewater treatment plant. It was last done 10 years ago in 2007, and it's time for an update. As we've talked many times, the plant is nearing capacity, and what this will do is evaluate our existing situation. It'll project our growth into the future, and it'll analyze different paths we could possibly take to meet that projected growth. It is quite a large effort, at $95,000 of professional services. We did talk to several different engineering firms. Based on firms we've worked with and talked to, we've worked with Nero Engineering. It's a small firm out of Golden Valley area, but he does have good experience. They're currently working for the Western Lake Sanitary Sewer District, which is Western Lake Superior Sanitary District, which is Duluth and the surrounding area, and they're also working for Hutchinson. I did talk with Hutchinson as a reference, and they've been doing good work out there. So he's with a previous position at a different firm. The owner did work on the expansion in Faribault that occurred around 2010. So he has experience in this area. We've used him on a couple small studies, and also he has been providing engineering expertise on the permitting issues that we've been working through with the MPCA. So he's been our technical support on that, and then Flaherty and Hood's been our legal. So we do recommend approval of the engineering agreement. This is going to be at least a 6-month process. A lot of that will depend on how the agency or the MPCA, how quickly they respond to our requests for meetings, requests for information, and how quickly they review the information once we provide it to them. And it'll also look at potential changing regulations that are certainly, well, I shouldn't say certainly, are very likely to occur over the next, at least the planning period. So we recommend approval.
Okay, thank you, Kyle. Are there any questions of Kyle on this agreement?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Nate to approve this engineering services agreement. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Dave. Any further discussion? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item is 3.2.3. It's a maintenance agreement with the county roads within the city limits. This agreement is with Steele County, and we'll go back to you, Kyle.
A few years ago, the city worked out a maintenance agreement with Steele County. At that time, it did not include signal maintenance. We have not been getting reimbursed for our work on the signals. This is proposed to be an update to that agreement to include the signal maintenance. So the county will reimburse the city for the work on the signals based on the percentage of ownership. So if there's 4 legs to the intersection and 2 are county and 2 are city, it'll be split 50-50 and so on. There is a minimum that will apply to all signals, even the ones that are 100% county owned, of $300. So if we go out and change a light bulb, for example, we're not going to bill for those minor expenses. So that was something we negotiated. The amount was originally going to be a little bit more, but we agreed to take on signals like County Road 45 and 34, which is State Avenue and 26th Street. If a bulb is need to replace there, we'll just do it. And I like it from a management standpoint. We're not constantly trying to keep all those day-to-day maintenance items, trying to keep track of those. But if a controller goes out for $3,500 to $4,000, we're going to be reimbursed for that. Any new signal construction would be negotiated at that time and then included in the agreement. Overall, about 45% of the legs are on all 21 signals is county and 55% is city. The next addition, we're looking to take over the regulatory requirements, not completely, but special use permits such as the band festival or Federated closes down County Road 174 through the fairgrounds. Currently, they're going and getting 2 permits for the band festival, one from the city and one from the county. We would take over those permitting, and that would include speed limits, special use permits, parking regulations. If it's something more complicated, we'd work with the county on issuing the permit, but it would, for an applicant, it'll make it a lot simpler. And then instead of annually recording, so currently our reimbursement rate is based on how much the county spends in that year on maintaining their roads. We're going to look at the last 3-year average, or we're proposing to look at the last 3-year average of that cost. Set it, it's going to be around $3,000 per mile. And then just use a benchmark construction cost increase to adjust that annually. And, it's something that we'll have to, at, 10 years down the road, reevaluate, but that saves quite a bit of accounting cost, and it also allows us to project what our reimbursement is going to be for our budgeting purposes. So this will be going in front of the county board next Tuesday, the 12th, for their approval as well. So staff is recommending approval, and we are excited to have something on the signals. We've been working on that for about 4 years.
Great, thank you, Kyle. Any questions of Kyle? Being none, I'd look for a motion on this agreement.
Motion approved.
Motion by Kevin to approve the cost participation agreement, maintenance agreement with Steele County. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Nate. Any further discussion? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The next item, some of you have a 3.2.4 on your agendas. That has been moved to an action item. So we'll move on to ordinances now. The first one is item 3.4.1. It's a second reading of proposed ordinance 16-17 to amend section on the vacation of the right-of-way adjacent to the Semco addition. And we'll go to Kyle, to Troy for this.
For 3.24?
3.4.1.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So that's vacation of the right-of-way.
Yeah, so this is, at the last meeting you had first reading of this vacation of right-of-way. This is property on East Frontage Road and 12th Avenue Northwest. The property had an underlying right-of-way, which was the old highway there. That one of the conditions of the plat was that be vacated. So we had first reading, this is second reading. Later in the agenda, you'll have the final plat of that. So staff would recommend approval.
Okay, thank you, Troy. Any questions of Troy? Being none, I'd look for a motion on this ordinance.
Motion to approve ordinance 16-17.
A motion by Brent. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Dave. This is an ordinance, so we'll look for a roll call, please.
Councilmember Voss.
Aye.
Okaberg.
Aye.
Dodson.
Aye.
Burbank.
Aye.
Rainey.
Aye.
Svenby.
Aye.
Schultz.
Aye.
All 7 ayes.
Okay, that motion carries, so this will move on It's done. So the next item is 3.4.2. This is a second reading of proposed ordinance 17-17 to amend section 32.020, creation, purpose, membership of the Human Rights Commission. And we'll go to Mark.
This is the second reading of the ordinance clarifying our human rights ordinance to make it conform to the state statute. The purpose of the ordinance is to set forth the 13 protected classes that the statute contemplates, and also that then when appointments are being made, the persons of all 13 classes are to be taken into account. Obviously, we can't appoint 13 members of all protected classes to the 7 individual seats, but consideration is to be given to persons of the protected classes. And it clarifies that the definitions in the statute are the definitions that are to be used in the interpretation of the ordinance.
Okay, thank you, Mark. Any questions of Mark? There being none, I'd look for a motion, please.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Jeff to approve proposed ordinance 17-17. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Nate. Any further discussion? There being none, this is an ordinance, so I look for a roll call.
Councilmember Voss.
Aye.
Okaberg.
Aye.
Dotson.
Aye.
Burbank.
Aye.
Rainey.
Aye.
Svenby.
Aye.
And Schultz.
Aye.
All ayes.
Motion carries. Now we'll move on to resolutions. The first one is 3.5.1, Resolution 73-17, to set the date for a public hearing on proposed assessments for delinquent accounts with the Owatonna Public Utilities. And we'll go to Chris for this.
Thank you. The Owatonna Public Utilities has requested assessments be processed against 5 parcels with past due service accounts. We will be publishing a notice, and it will be mailed to the property owners, published in the newspaper, and setting the date of hearing. This is required by Chapter 429. The total proposed assessment amount for all 5 is $4,863.91. Staff would recommend approval of the resolution to proceed with the assessment process.
Okay, thank you, Chris. I look for a motion to set the date for public hearing.
Motion approved.
Motion by Kevin.
Second.
Resolution 73-17.
Second.
Second by Brent. Any further discussion? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next up is item 3.5.2, Resolution 74-17, to approve the final plat of the Semco addition. And we'll go to Troy.
Okay, so this is the final plat of that same property in which we vacated the right-of-way. And there is outstanding assessments of just over $10,000 that would be reapportioned, 80% going to the main lot, 10% to the other 2 lots. This allocates or designates the right-of-way needed and cleans up all the title work on it for it to be a buildable lot here, and so staff would recommend approval.
Okay, thank you, Troy. Any questions for Troy? Being none, I look for a motion. Motion by Nate to approve Resolution 74-17, the final plat in the Semco addition. Second from Doug. Any further discussion? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item is 3.5.3, Resolution 75-17, to deem structures unsafe at 130 and 134 East Fremont Street. And back to you, Trey.
The Owatonna Housing Redevelopment Authority has purchased the homes at 130 and 134 East Fremont for the purposes of redeveloping the properties. They're in the condition where they need to be demolished, and they're included in the bids here you'll hear next. It is possible that tax increment financing could be used to help repay the city for some of these upfront costs associated with redevelopment if we choose to use tax increment financing in order to demolish these two properties and keep them eligible for tax increment financing. This resolution must be adopted by the City Council. It declares the properties as substandard and therefore eligible for a redevelopment tax increment financing district. And we have done this before on the two houses that have been demoed on Pearl Street. We did a resolution like this, and then we did set up a TIF district, or proposing to set up a TIF district for that redevelopment project. There are no expenses at this time for adopting the resolution, so staff would recommend approval of this resolution.
Okay, thank you, Troy. Any questions of Troy? Jeff?
There might need to be a correction. If you look under purpose, it states 130 and 134 East Pearl Street instead of Fremont.
Yeah, we did it before because that's how we used the same memo from that one.
But it is Fremont.
It is Fremont.
Yes. Just to make it clear.
Yep, thank you, Jeff.
Motion to approve.
Very observant, Jeff. Motion by Jeff to approve Resolution 75-17. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Dave. Any further discussion? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Next up is 3.5.4, Resolution 76-17, to award the 2017 summer demolition quotes. And back to you, Troy.
So these two properties on Fremont that we just adopted resolution for, those were purchased by the HRA. Those are to be demolished for redevelopment. We also have two houses at 732 and 810 North Oak Avenue. These were purchased with the DNR flood grant dollars for the purposes of removing homes in the floodplain. So the city does own those. Those are included in this as well. And then the lot at 215 Pearl Street, which is a lot across from the law enforcement center. There is a vacant garage and shed in the back, and the utilities are still in the street. Those would be demolished and the utilities removed as part of this contract too. We did send out an invitation for quotes on August 4th to 7 local contractors to perform the work, and we did receive quotes from 3 different contractors, and those are included in the resolution. We open those on August 29th, and all work is to be completed by October 27th. The city would be responsible for the demolition costs on Pearl, and the HRA would be responsible for the demolition costs on Fremont, and then the grant would cover the costs on North Oak. In the quotes there, you're showing the 3 bids there. I think the original resolution that went out showed the second bid with James Brothers on 215 East Pearl is $49,500. That should have been $9,500. Regardless, the low bid or low quote came from Wenzel Construction, and so staff would recommend approval of the resolution accepting the quote from Wenzel Construction for the demolition of the structures.
Okay, thank you, Troy. Any questions for Troy? There being none, I look for a motion.
Motion to approve.
A motion by Nate to approve Resolution 76-17 to award. Second. Sorry, again. 2017 summer demolition quotes. Second by Doug. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Any further discussion? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next up is item 3.5.5, Resolution 77-17. That's a street maintenance cost participation framework with Steele County. Some of your agendas might show that as that item 3.23, but it was moved to an action item. So we'll go to you, Kyle.
Good evening again. So along with maintenance, construction also occurs on county roads. Previously, the county had a cost participation policy that they had adopted. Because there's a number of projects coming up for next year and in the future years on county roads within the city, we're trying to take a little bit different approach to that cost participation. In general, the costs of state aid eligible items, and state aid eligible items are anything that state aid will reimburse for. So that includes sidewalk, pavement, curb and gutter, some landscaping. The county would pay 75% of those costs, and the city will pay 25%. And the county's logic in proposing that we pay for a portion of that is to make sure that, well, we're not asking for extravagance, that we have a little bit of skin in the game, so to speak. It's not exactly what I was hoping for, but I think it's better than what we have, and I can support it. So I think in the end, it's a good agreement and fair. So we recommend approval. I should take another step. This is just establishing the framework that the agreements will be developed on. So we'll be working on an agreement for County Road 45 pavement reconstruction, and for the signal at 26th Street and North Cedar. There'll be negotiated agreements on each of those, and as staffing changes and workloads change between the departments, it may be that we're the lead agency on one of those, or the county is. That type of thing will be negotiated. But we are happy to have an agreement, and think it's a fair arrangement between the two agencies.
Okay, thank you, Kyle. Any questions of Kyle? If not, I'd look for a motion.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Jeff to approve Resolution 77-17, the street maintenance cost participation framework with Steele County. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Dave. Any further discussion? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now we move on to miscellaneous items. First up is 3.6.1, approval to purchase property at 447 Mineral Springs Road. And back to you, Trey.
So the city does have a current grant with the DNR for $560,000 to purchase and remove homes that are prone to flooding. These funds cover 100% of the costs associated with the purchase and removal of these structures. The city has received many of these grants in the past to remove homes within the floodplain. This particular grant, the funds must be used by June 30th of next year. The grant program is voluntary and must meet certain criteria. The property owner at 447 Mineral Springs Road would like to sell his property. An appraisal of the property was completed to establish a purchase price of $140,000. The property contains a single-family home with an attached garage. The basement of the home did receive damage during the 2010 flood event, and therefore makes it eligible for the grant program. The city has removed 3 houses to the south of this home over the last 2 years. This property would become part of Darts Park and allow for more space to expand the parking lot sometime in the future. Again, all costs associated with this purchase and removal of the home and garage would be covered by the grant. We would be contracting this out, and the property then would need to be maintained as parkland after the home is removed. So staff would recommend approval of the purchase and removal of the home at 447 Mineral Springs Road.
Okay, thank you, Troy. Any questions for Troy?
Motion to approve.
Just a second. Troy has a question.
Troy, on the Google Earth photo that's in the packet, is the residents at 453 and 433, are they still considered floodplain as well?
433 is, and that has been removed. This is,
Okay.
yeah, this is not the most accurate one, because
Okay.
that we removed that one last year, and then the one at 453, that would be considered not in the floodplain.
Okay. So once 447 is gone, we're in pretty good shape.
Yeah, as far as flooding possibilities there over any of the homes there, right?
Thank you.
Other questions?
On the grant of the $560,000, is there any left after this project?
This will be the last house we purchased with that. So we did purchase 433. That was one of them we purchased and removed. There was one on North Elm Avenue on the west side, of the road that was purchased and removed under that grant, and then the 2 on North Oak, which we've already purchased and approved demolition. Those were both purchased under that, and then this would be the last utilizing those funds.
And will the DNR come back with any more someday?
Well, the funding, they have funding periodically, and some of the funding pays for 50% and some pays for 100. So I'm always asking for the 100% coverage. More readily available would be funds to cover 50%. So we've had numerous grants. Some have come, we've utilized the 50% ones for all those on Walnut, but we had Owatonna Public Utilities that covered the other half on that. Most all of them that we've done have been the 100%, and those come up if there's a flood event that happens and the legislature allocates more dollars for these programs. That's the time when usually you get the 100% coverage. So those are the ones that we kind of look for.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions of Troy? There being none, I'd look for a motion.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Kevin to approve the purchase of property at 447 Mineral Springs Road. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Dave. Any further discussion? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next up is item 3.6.2, authorize the 2017 deer management proposal. And we'll go to Chris for this one.
Thank you, Greg. Once again, we are proposing a deer harvest in the city. It's proposed to occur between November 4th through December 22nd. We are following the rules and regulations we have in the past. We want folks to register by September 15th. We will have 2 sets of 15 permits will be randomly awarded to those passing a proficiency test. Bag limit is the hunter's regular deer tag limit. You have to take an antlerless deer first, and then once you have harvested one of those, you may earn a buck. And all Minnesota DNR rules and regulations will apply. We are allowing the hunt in the same parks as we had last year, which would be Cashman Park, Hammond Park, Kaplan's Woods, Leo Rudolph Nature Reserve, Manthe Park, Creasel Park, Kaplan's Woods Parkway, Maple Creek Parkway, and the North Strait River Park area. So staff would recommend approval.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Any questions of Chris on this?
Chris?
Jeff?
You had stated that this was what we did last year. Mineral Springs Park has been taken out, correct?
Right, it is not included, and that was not last year either.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I should mention that a non-refundable application fee of $12 is assessed to applicants to offset costs associated with the hunt.
Any further?
Question, do we have any results from last year? And, big picture, is this being effective, or do we need some? Because, where my business is, I have deer walking through the front yard in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
And
I know
my whole garden.
Yeah, I think the number of deer we harvested last year was less than years previous. So I know the park board had some discussion as to the effectiveness. Are the deer getting wise to, our hunts and that? But I don't know. There was a lot of interest. The area hunters enjoy the hunt, and there are still a significant number of deer in the city, and it was felt that it was necessary to keep it going. But you could certainly maybe next year take a year off if you want. Council could authorize, but it's up to you folks what you want to do.
Thank you, Chris. Any other questions? If not, I'd look for a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Nate to approve 2017 deer management proposal. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Jeff. Any further discussion? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item is 3.6.3, Variance 1392, a sign variance at McKinley School, Independent School District 761. And we go to Troy for this.
So the school district is requesting a variance on our sign ordinance for additional signage at elementary school, which was formerly Willow Creek School. And mainly because it is being renamed. That school is set back from the street, both from the west side. They're set back 350 feet and then 550 feet from the north property line. And so just to make people aware of the new school, they are requesting a variance from our sign ordinance. Now, our sign ordinance is really set up to be very minimal in the residential area, so when you have a big school on a big property that's set back far away, it really is not conducive to that at all. So what they're requesting is they'll have the same freestanding sign that sits there now, and they want to add signage on both the west side and the north side of the building, 155 square feet of signage that will just say McKinley Elementary School. So I think from the streets that you see them from, you won't notice, well, you'll notice them in the fact that you'll be able to read them, but they won't stand out any more than any other sign. And so did go to Planning Commission. They did not have any objections from the neighbors. And so Planning Commission did recommend approval of the sign variance request, and therefore staff would recommend approval.
Okay, thank you, Trey. Any questions on this matter? I look for a motion then.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Doug to approve variance 1392, sign at McKinley School. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Dave. Any further discussion? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. That concludes the action items on our agenda this evening. Now is the time for public comments. Anybody that's in the audience who would like to speak, please come forward and sign in, and please keep your comments to 2 minutes or less and items not on the agenda. Doesn't look like we have anyone here tonight.
I think back there, I think.
Is he the sheriff's here? I don't know if he wants to talk or not.
For Councilman Rainey, I'm just making sure he's getting home safe.
Good idea. So there's no public comment tonight. We'll move on to council comments, and first up is Doug. No comments. Nothing tonight? Okay. Jeff?
No comment.
Nate?
Kids are going back to school, so keep an eye out for them.
Good advice. Dave?
Nothing from Ward 3.
Kevin?
I'll echo Nate, be aware of crosswalks and just give the kids that extra second to decide if they want to cross or not, and slow down. And just because the speed limit's 30 doesn't mean you have to go 30, especially at 7:30 in the morning and 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Thank you.
Juan, did you make him say that?
Well said.
Brent?
Nothing further from what Kevin said.
Okay. Mayor Tom?
Nothing to add.
Nothing to add? Chris?
I have a few announcements.
Okay.
Just to let everyone know, we have rescheduled Wolfstock, it's hard to say, September 22nd from 5 to 7. It'll be at Lake Chase Dog Park. We ran into a little weather problems before, so we would want to encourage everyone to come down and bring your four-legged friend for some live music. There will be concessions, lawn chair, and just have a great time. Brooktree is also starting something new called Fling Golf. It's it's a little lacrosse, a little golf, a little baseball, a lot of fun. I'm not very good at it. We did try this, but it's fun, I guess. People like it. So that will start September 18th and 19th, and the 20th. There's a bunch of dates where you can learn how to use the Fling Golf apparatus. So check that out. And then finally, there's Beer and Bogeys. This is a two-person team, 9-hole best shot kind of tournament. That's going to be on Sunday, October 8th, 10:30 a.m. shotgun start. There's no Viking game that day, just to remind everyone. $20 per person. So check out our lovely season of golf here this fall at Brooktree. That's all I had.
Thank you, Chris. And I'd just like to echo what Kevin said. Watch out, school's on. And we talk about lots of things here and spend lots of dollars, but our most precious resource in this community are our little ones, and we all need to watch out for them. So with that, I'd look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Kevin to adjourn. To a second?
Second.
Second by Nate. Any discussion? I don't think so. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We're done.